The village of East Burke, Vermont, now a hotspot for both mountain bikers and skiers, wasn't always as vibrant as it is today. After flooding, diseases, and famine encouraged residents to migrate west in the mid to late 1850s, the once thriving community became desolate. That all changed when one man purchased and developed properties along what is now Darling Hill. Elmer A. Darling established Mountain View Farm in 1883, responsible for not only housing Darling's both award-winning Morgan horses and Jersey cattle, it also was home to the creamery, which originally was just for the family's consumption. But after a while, they began supplying his renowned dairy products to New York's Fifth Avenue Hotel, which he was an owner of, the Chevy Chase Club in Washington, D.C., and John D. Rockefeller used to receive shipments of cheese from here as well. He and his family have done a lot for the town, which played a large role in the revitalization of East Burke. The farms and all of the buildings that they needed to construct prompted other businesses such as mills and lumberyards to pop up. Therefore, the demand for workers grew, and more houses began to sprout up as a result. Not only did they contribute to the economy in that facet, they also were very big on giving back to the community.
The Darlings were very, very nice to us. You didn't have a lot, but you never knew that you were poor growing up, but you were. And the Darling house had the dining room for the men that worked on the farm. 3 meals a day they did.
Oh.
And it was meat, potato, and vegetables.
And lots of
major food all the time. And they grew it there. Everything was kept swept and clean. Elmer didn't like messy anything. You know, the sides of the roads had to be mowed, and the fences couldn't be sloppy. He wanted everything looking really good all the time.
With Elmer's businesses rapidly growing, he had to make sure that there were enough supplies and materials available for the village. A dam was constructed across the Passumpsic River in East Burke, which allowed Elmer to pipe water up to his farm up the hill. It also powered the creamery, which was previously run on steam. Elmer also built the electric plant, lined the streets with streetlights, and provided electricity in the village to those who wanted it. In addition, he also took care of all of the water and sewage services for the village. 86-year-old Charlotte Downs was raised on the Mountain View farm, where her father was a manager. While growing up, she got to experience the life of a child in post-Depression America. However, her experiences were much different than that of the average child during that time period.
Mrs. Darling would sit on the front porch of the Darling house, and if a bird ran into the glass and broke his neck, she would wait until we'd go by and want us to bury the bird. And she would give us 5 cents to bury the bird, my brothers and I. Well, I couldn't pick up a dead bird, so I had to wait for my brothers. They picked up the dead bird, and we went and found a woodchuck hole and dropped it in it to get the 5 cents. That was pretty good.
During Christmas time, the Darling family was famous for throwing elaborate parties. The tradition began with Elmer and continued on after his passing by his brother Lucius. Downs remembers these parties as very memorable and loved by the children and people of East Burke.
Elmer had parties for all the people in East Burke, and he found out what all the children wanted. So they got what they wanted, the children in East Burke. He came down with a sleigh and brought them all up to whatever was the newest building that he had built that year. He had the party in that building with Santa Claus and cake and ice cream and wonderful things and presents. He did that.
While Elmer loved the city life of New York City, he missed the beautiful mountains of Vermont. So he returned home and began construction on his residence, Burke Manor, in 1904, and the home was built by the same construction company who had worked on the Fifth Avenue Hotel. After completion of his estate, Elmer focused his attention on becoming a local breeder for, arguably, some of the finest horses around. The Vermont Morgan is a well-recognized breed all across the country, most known for their elegance and hard-working manner. According to a 1955 issue of Vermont Life, it is the hilly Vermont landscape where the horses get their strength from. Elmer was one of the founding members of the Morgan Horse Club in 1909. Also president of the American Jersey Cattle Club, Elmer won lots of ribbons and trophies at fairs across the Northeast with his prized horses and cattle. Along with his many business interests, Elmer was also on Linden Institute's Board of Trustees. On a snowy January night in 1922, Linden Institute's Thompson Hall was destroyed in a fire. The trustees voted to fund reconstruction of a new building, and with his heavy background in architecture, Elmer was tasked with designing the new building. By the following January, construction was complete and classes could resume in the new building. Elmer also designed and helped to build the Burke Mountain Club in 1919, right in the center of East Burke Village. Created with wood from trees on Burke Mountain, which back then was owned by the Darling family before Elmer and his brother Lucius sold it to the state. The clubhouse was built with the purpose of giving the library a permanent spot in town. The old White School and Burke Historical Society building was moved in 1923 to save it from being sold. The society, which Elmer was a part of, wanted to preserve its historical charm. So, it was moved to the lawn of the Burke Mountain Club, where it currently resides today. On Saturday, June 22nd in 2019, the club celebrated their 100th anniversary, held in Elmer's honor, to thank him for all of the work that he did to revitalize East Burke. At the event, all were invited to take a step back in time and get a taste of what life was like during that time period. Many items from the Darling family's home were on display there. From clothes, to dining sets, menus, and place cards, to letters, photos, knickknacks, and trinkets of all sorts. From Burke Manor, the Fifth Avenue Hotel, and the Mountain View Farm were there on display. Attendees were also able to see many old-time games, toys, and traditions brought back to life for the day. Charlotte was one of the few people in attendance who actually got to experience firsthand what it was like on the farm. Today, life on Darling Ridge is a little different than it was 100 years ago. The once bustling Mountain View Farm is now an inn and animal sanctuary. Burke Manor is currently in the process of restoration and will become another inn. But it may be busier, as it is home to the renowned Kingdom Trails, a hub for mountain bikers and Nordic skiers.